What's up, guys? It's AG Sports Analytics Advantage, however you want to say it. Coming with you today to go over really a recap of what we went through this entire summer, right? So, a lot of people are just now tuning back into football. It's been, months and months and months since we've had anything that really mattered, at least since February. Now we are about 2.5 weeks away from the Hall of Fame game. Very, very close. I've been counting down basically since we were like 50 days away from the Hall of Fame game. And today we are technically 51 days away from the actual, regular season starting. So it's right around the corner. You're going to hear more and more football. More and more of the podcasts are coming back. Guys are doing at least, a couple shows a week, whatever it is. Getting ready for a lot of fantasy stuff, which is awesome. But I'm here for your gambling purposes, because most of you are gambleholics, myself included. We're degenerates, and that's fine. We live with that. But let's get into it. What did we get over the summer? What did we play over the summer? And what should we go back and kind of reevaluate right now? So I'm going to go over all the plays I gave you guys for week one. I'm going to have a couple of leans for week one as well. And then I'm also going to go over the plays that we went that we're taking for either preseason and or full season games. If you're looking at your screen right now, what you are seeing is a portion of the New York Giants chapter in the Warren Sharp book. If you didn't know this, which you probably should have guessed, right? I get the book every year. I read it every year, all that kind of stuff. One thing that is going to be coming up soon, and actually the next couple of videos, is going to be really some highlights, some snippets of every single team chapter from Warren Sharp. Obviously, this is a lot of data. It's a lot of information. So I'm not going to go through every single line. I'm not going to read it. I wouldn't want to deprive him of, his book sales that way. But the one that you're seeing right now is free. You can go download it. This chapter, which is the New York Giants chapter, just directly from sharpfootballanalysis.com. So I'm not really breaking any rules here. As I get into some of the other teams that I want to break down, I may show some information. I'll try to keep it as minimal as possible, but again, I am going to be giving you the information. So you'll get at least the high-level stuff. If you want to break it down, you really want to get into individual passes and heat charts and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have to buy the book, guys. It's like $30. You're going to blow that in one loss anyway, so you might as well get it. But enough of that, enough of, being on his D. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the plays we got. So as far as preseason games are concerned, we did take the Jets to win the Hall of Fame game, and the Jets and the Browns to go under in this Hall of Fame game. Jets-Browns under, definitely still a play I want to do, and I suggest you guys do it really every single year for this Hall of Fame game. Typically, the line is pretty low. It's probably going to start out at 32, 33, something like that. Last year really had a backfire. I believe it was the Raiders, and we had a coach that just wanted to impress his home team or whoever the hell it was, or his home crowd, I should say, and wanted to put up points, and he even started Josh Jacobs and all that kind of stuff, which is ridiculous, but whatever. It was a loss. I'm not sour at all. This year, at least from my knowledge, and I did look into a little bit of where these coaches are from and where they're coaching things, I don't think that's really going to be an issue. Secondly, though, we don't really have a first-time head coach in either of these teams. The Jets have Saleh, who has been there for at least a little bit. I believe this is his third year. The Browns have Stefanski, who's been there at least a little bit longer. Either way, though, don't see one of these guys trying to really show out. Obviously, both of these teams have, high-caliber starting QBs and really starting rosters in general. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Chubb. We're not going to see Breece Hall. Obviously, I think he's still injured. Garrett Wilson's probably not going to show up. Amari Cooper's not going to be in the game. This is going to probably start off with hopefully the backups, but I wouldn't be surprised if the third stringers are in there by the end of the first quarter, second quarter, for sure. But either way, really, really feel strongly about that under. The Jets to win the game, I think I'm actually slightly reducing that. I'm kind of getting off of that. They have not really posted a line yet, so I don't think anybody has officially played it just yet. If you did, I don't feel terrible about it. It's just the Jets are 5-0 or 4-0 in their preseason. 5-0 with Saleh, and great, 100% win rate. Stefanski has a little bit closer to about a 60 or 70% win rate. So what that tells me is both these coaches really value the preseason. They see some merit in it. My biggest concern is that because of that, you don't have the Browns just laying down. You're not going to have this team just kind of rolling over and like, okay, you get the win, whatever. Maybe they do try a little bit harder, and it's not necessarily putting in the star players. It could easily just be, play selection, right? Or not being so vanilla, or trying to actually go for a score instead of just doing like scenario stuff. So a lot of that stuff does come into play, and I do think the Browns put up at least a little bit of a fight. Either way, though, I think that this game stays very well under. I am still going to put something on the Jets, but it's going to be pretty minimal, and I believe I said that to begin with. My typical play is about $200 a play. This one's probably going to be like $25, right? It's going to be pretty minimal. This is really just, hey, it's the game. I want to have something on it. I've missed football. Give me a reason to watch it kind of thing. But the under, definitely. So aside from that game, we also have two other preseason games that we are waiting on, right? Which is, one of them is the Ravens, which is one of my favorite preseason teams to go after. And it's the Ravens to win against the Eagles, and that's in preseason week 2, or the first, official week of preseason. It's not the Hall of Fame game. That one, the Eagles won. Sirianni has not really put a whole lot of emphasis on the preseason. Secondly, though, the Eagles are coming off the Super Bowl. They definitely did not feel a need to go out there and get anybody injured, try to run a whole bunch of stuff, try to show off to anybody, try to show anything they have in their bag. They're off the Super Bowl. They're definitely not putting a whole lot of emphasis on this early preseason game. If anything, very similar to what we were just saying with the Jets-Browns. It's going to be a lot of rookies, a lot of backups, all that kind of stuff. The Ravens, on the other hand, have a lot of new players. Big ticket players too, like Odell, like Lamar, with the new contract. J.K. Dobbins supposedly healthy. You got guys like Gus Edwards who should be healthy as well. So teams that are a team with a lot of guys that are either brand new rookies like Zay Flowers, or are coming off of some sort of injury and they want to maybe see what they have, right? Like in a real game scenario. So I definitely see the Ravens playing at least a little bit, right? Either their starters or at least their high caliber rookies. And on top of that, putting some real effort into like, hey, let's kind of make this some sort of game type of scenario. On top of all that, you guys have, the records. You've seen it if you've been around football for any amount of time. John Harbaugh is like a preseason god. This guy is amazing. And I apologize because I do have a screen with like the preseason totals and stuff. I'm sorry, the records and whatnot. I just don't have it in front of me. But he is something like a 75 to 80% winner in the preseason, if not more. I think it's even closer to like 90 after last season. So really, really good. Guy really cares about preseason. Even a couple years back, I believe it was 2020, when like half his damn team got hurt in the preseason, he didn't stop. In the third game, he still wanted to go all out and go live action, all that kind of stuff. So give me the Ravens in week 2 to beat the Eagles. And then the last one that we have for preseason is the Broncos to beat the Rams. And that's Broncos Rams under, not to win. Broncos Rams under in week 4. This is another one where we look at the coaches, and both coaches just could not care less. Sean McVay and Sean Payton have a total of like 2 wins, I believe, amongst them in the last 3 years. In preseason, that is. They don't really care. And actually, the one win that Sean Payton does have is actually against Sean McVay, just to like even put, cement that, like, hey, these guys really don't give a shit about the preseason at all. They're definitely out there just kind of treading the water, seeing what they got with some guys, seeing maybe more stamina, all these guys in playing condition. What do you have in your rookies? What do you have in your third stringers? Really, truly just making like the cut list, and that's pretty much it. So I think in this game, especially when it comes to preseason week 4, which is the season or the week right before the regular season starts, or the last preseason game, I should say, before the regular season starts, I don't see either of these guys really going out there putting much, if any, effort. And I don't really expect to see any of the starters out there, or if they are out there, it's going to be very minimal, maybe like a quarter, if they really get a hair up their ass. It's a pretty low scoring game. Give me the under. Again, in all of these, the reason I'm not giving you a total is not because I'm a jackass. It's because we just really don't have the totals or the numbers yet. So just keep that in mind. I don't know what it's going to be. It probably, again, will be something like 32, 31, 33, somewhere in that range. I'm fine with all of that. I completely see this game ending at like a 14-10 kind of score. Maybe like 17-14, like at the very, very most, right? But all of that being said, I just, as long as it's like 31.5, 31 even, I'm good, because the 31 give me the push, it's fine. But I do think you're probably going to even be less than that. So those are the 4 preseason games, or the 4 preseason plays. There is one more that I want to talk about, and this is going to be the full season-long play, and this is the Raiders under 7.5 wins. Now, we got back on this way back, and it was like minus 145, I believe, which is a little bit more than what I wanted to go at, but it has since creeped up even more. That play is currently at about minus 190. And some places have even taken down the 7.5. I know some places already listed it down to 7. It may be like under 7 and minus 175. Either way, I like it. I really think the Raiders have a 6-win season at best, right? Like very absolute best case scenario. Every absolute thing goes their way. Give them 6. So 7.5, 7. I'm even willing to go down to 6.5 if you can find like an alt line or anything like that on it. To be completely honest with you, I would even try 6 if the number is good enough. But either way, give me the Raiders under 7.5 as the official play. Just a quick note on that. They do have one of the hardest schedules in the entire NFL this year, and they will be one of the teams that I'm going to really highlight when we do go over all the teams with the Warren Sharp breakdown. I don't want to spoil it too much here, but it is not positive, I can tell you that much. Next, we have Week 1. Week 1, we have 4 plays already in the books. Really 5 plays in the books, and another 2 that I really want to get on. I just haven't officially pulled the trigger just yet. So the 4 plays that are in there: Bengals, Browns, under 47. We actually got that at under 48, but the current line is at 47. The Bengals, Browns, Bengals defense against the run is just not great. That's probably the weakest spot they have on either side of the ball. Where the Browns, that's their bread and butter. That's what they want to do. I see them definitely using Nick Chubb a lot in that Week 1. It's a divisional rivalry. They both know what they want to do. They both kind of know what to expect as far as like a play calling situation is concerned. It's Week 1, so all the kinks are still getting worked out. There's also a lot of stamina issues, right? How many of these guys? None of these guys really are going to be in like mid-season form just yet. Obviously, it's still Week 1. For some of these guys, it may be the first time they're really seeing live action. Like I don't expect Joe Burrow or Nick Chubb or even really much of either starting offense to come out and play in the preseason, especially the Bengals. I mean, a lot of these guys, obviously, they've been there for a couple of years. They've been very competitive. They made AFC championships. They don't really need to put their starting guys out there. So I think this is going to be, at least the first quarter to first half, is going to be kind of settling in, maybe even for both teams. And then the Browns, again, relying on the run, taking their time, milking the clock, all that kind of stuff. Raiders, Broncos, under 45 is the second play. Kind of a similar breakdown, right? But this one is in Denver, high altitude, mixed with Week 1. Right, so high altitude with guys who are already not in like mid-season form, trying to go 100% for the first time in months. Not a good combination. I do see a lot of these just players in general getting winded, getting tired. It is something that maybe wears off by the second half. Maybe they kind of get acclimated. But either way, I think you're going to be in for at least one quarter, if not one half, of just a low-scoring game. I do believe the Broncos actually win this game, but the only reason I'm not on the Broncos as a side play is because Sean Payton does have a tendency to start off very, very slow. Frank Reich has kind of taken that crown from him as being like the Week 1 shittiest coach of the year, but Sean Payton, I believe, has like 1 win in the last 5 or 6 years he's been a head coach, even with New Orleans, and he's had some really good teams with New Orleans, and that week 1 is just not a great time to catch him, or it is a good time to catch him, but it's not a good week for him. So a team I don't really have a whole lot of hope for this year. I don't think they're going to obviously be like a Super Bowl contender. Maybe they should be a better prep team than they were last year. Sean Payton should have an impact, but I don't think it's going to be week 1 when that kind of comes to fruition. Secondly, you have a lot of these guys who are still adjusting. It's going to be a brand new offense for pretty much the entire team. Basically, anybody who's not very familiar with Sean Payton and trying to turn around last year. Javonte Williams may or may not be there. Who knows? So we have a lot of question marks there. Kind of a lower scoring game. Like I said, obviously I'm going with the under here. Just kind of ends up being a coin toss, right? Like either team could win. I believe the line the last time I checked was 3.5, and I'm just not willing to lay that. The Raiders on the other side, again, I just talked about how their total win total is an under for me. The coach is just awful. He's garbage. I really don't know why he even has this opportunity. But hey, what the hell do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube. But again, I will break down why I'm saying he's awful in an upcoming video. That is pretty much it for that game. It's under 45 is the play. 44 is a key number, so we're getting that. And obviously we're getting one extra point there. Packers-Bears under 45. Again, very, very similar breakdown here to really both of the games that we were just talking about. We have the Bears, who are kind of a run-first team, just in the sense that they have a lot of running backs. Justin Fields obviously is a running quarterback, very mobile. You have the Packers offense, who's adjusting to life without Aaron Rodgers. Who knows what to expect from them? Obviously, there's no Devontae Adams. There hasn't been there in 2 years. But on top of all of that, if you look at week 1 for the Packers the last 3 years, they have just not put together a whole lot of points. I think there was 1 year, I should say, where Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams together had an amazing start. They put up something like 38 points. And I apologize, I'm doing this from my phone. I don't have my laptop here in front of me with the data. But I do know that one of the last 5 years, I believe, they had one really, really good showing. And that's it. Every other year has been really, really bad. I know I specifically remember there was one game where they did play the Bears. I believe it was the 50th anniversary for the NFL. Same coach, better talent, right, with Aaron Rodgers obviously there and Devontae Adams, and the game was just god-awful. I think the final total in that game was like 30-something points, 31 points. It was just really, really low scoring. It was very hard to watch. It was something like 7-0 at half and like 10-3, and maybe it was 10-3 to end. I can't remember now. I just remember that watching that game as the first game of the year, I wanted to turn off the TV. And it is very, very rare that I say that, especially week 1. For the very first game, very first kickoff of NFL season, for me to want to turn off a TV, it was pretty damn bad. And I went back and I did watch some other Packers, home openers or just openers in general. They don't usually come out with a really, really strong, high-powered offense. And this year, even more so without Aaron Rodgers, and trying to rely more on Aaron Jones and kind of like the check-down game and hopefully maybe a run game against the Bears that are probably going to just be trying to run the ball the whole damn time. Maybe they get a couple of explosive plays from DJ Moore, but you're basically all this bet is saying that I don't think DJ Moore is going to have a 2-touchdown game, and we should stay under 45. The 2 more plays here. One of them is the very first play that I put out was the Ravens minus 9.5 versus the Texans. Again, I'm going back to the Ravens. That's going to be one of my teams for the year. I can tell you right now, the Ravens, the Falcons, and the Giants are 3 of the teams that I'm very closely monitoring. I do have a top 8 to 10 list that I'm monitoring rather thoroughly, but those 3 teams in particular, I'm really, really keeping my focus on. But the Ravens are minus 9.5. Give me the team who has an established veteran quarterback, who has an established coach, a coaching staff in general, who is going to come in with Todd Monken as a new offensive coordinator, but he still has the stability of having the coaching staff, like the entire rest of the coaching staff, in place. They really have not changed much else other than the play calling, and the offensive coordinator, obviously. Healthy team, all that kind of stuff coming in versus DeMeco Ryans in his first game with the Texans as a coach, as well as CJ Stroud as his first game in the NFL. I don't think this is close. I think this team is going to absolutely whip the dog shit out of the Texans. Maybe the Texans make it a fight for a little bit. Maybe it's the first half or the second half. Maybe they have a little bit of fight in them. They put up some points, or maybe they try to make it tough on defense, or whatever the case is. D'Amico Ryans can do that. But either way, at the end of this game, I very, very strongly believe this is a 20-plus point ass whipping in the first week. It's not even close. There really is not a whole lot else to say about that. You have a new coach, new quarterback with the Texans, and the exact opposite on the Ravens. The last official play here, Giants +3 versus the Cowboys. Cowboys the last 3 years have started off really, really shitty. They've gone 0-3 with Mike McCarthy. This year, Dak is still there, who knows what he is, right? Some people love him, some people hate him. I'm kind of lukewarm on him. Obviously, there's no Zeke this year. Tony Pollard is there, and he should be 100%. He should be healthy. The injury he sustained, which was like a broken fibula, should have, by all records and medical documents, should have really been healed completely up by the end of March. So he's had about 4 months to heal up and get ready to go and get back to full speed and all that kind of stuff. So he should be fine, but what kind of offense are we working with now that Kellen Moore has left? Who knows? And that's an issue, and that's probably my biggest issue with the Cowboys this year is without Kellen Moore, and I've said this a million times, Mike McCarthy has said he's going to be running the calls, the play calls, and it's just not his forte. Really, I don't like the coach at all, and I am a Cowboys fan, so it really irritates me to have him as the coach, but it really scares the shit out of me to know that he's going to be calling the offense. The new offensive coordinator they brought in doesn't impress me. I'm not really in love with it. I think, and they've also come out and said that they want to be a very run-heavy team, blah, blah, blah. I don't think any of that is great. So while the Cowboys have the better talent on the field, that talent is going to have to show out and win out against a very, very superior coach. The talent on the field, like I said, obviously is going to go the way of the Cowboys. Saquon, hopefully he's not holding out. Could or could not have a big game. Who knows? He's probably, obviously, he is the best offensive player on that Giants team. So it would definitely help them to have him there. And I think you could see this line get up to +3.5, +4 without Saquon. As long as this holdout thing is kind of lingering in the air, my advice would be to take this line at its very highest, whether that's 3.5 or 4, whatever you think it's going to be. Just kind of watch the line movement. But take that, because odds are Saquon does play. There's really not a whole lot of point to him sitting out. Secondly, even if he were to sit out, I just think the coaching is that much better with the Giants and with Darren Waller that there's just not a whole lot the Cowboys can do to win this game. The Cowboys would need their players to basically run everything. They would need lunatics to run the asylum to win this game. And even with that, I don't know if that gets the job done, because Dak is Dak, and he's going to kill you sometimes. He's going to maybe win a game here and there, but he's going to definitely kill you every couple times. And all that being said, give me the Giants and give me Brian Daboll. And then lastly, I have two leans here, and I'm pretty sure I am going to pull the trigger on these two. But both of these games, we have the Falcons -3 at the Panthers. Falcons just a better overall team, better offensive line, better run game, better coach. Did a really great job last year with great improvements. And then also having the Panthers coming in with a first-time coach, first-time quarterback, trying to go up against a really well-run Falcons team who saw a lot of success in the second half of the year. Give me the Falcons -3. And then last one here is the Jaguars -3.5 versus the Colts. The Jaguars, again, same thing. If you see this game, weeks down the line here in the season, this is not going to be the line. The line, if it was, week 10, is going to be Jaguars -14 in this game. But that's, like I said, besides the point, I guess. Right now, Jaguars a better team. Jaguars a playoff team. Colts, again, we have a new coach, new quarterback. I'm fading that all day, every day, twice on Sundays, literally. Give me the team that just has everything established. Give me the team that has the coach I can believe in, that's shown great improvement coming into his second year, with a overall team that has done nothing but improve and add more pieces to their offense. So those are all the plays. Those are all the recaps. We are going to have a couple more videos coming out shortly. Like I said, we're going to break down all the teams from the Warren Sharp NFL preview. Look out for those